You just did a tour, and
I
you,
I, I was in Spain for a conference, which was tremendous, and now I'm back here. But then Sunday I go to Austin, and then the following weekend I'm off to Portugal. I mean, I'm on this incredible speaking circuit between now and about the end of January. It's just going to be nutso crazy, but it's good. I mean, it's
well,
exactly what I'm supposed to be
imagine,
doing.
I
So.
can imagine the tenor of your talk is going to be something like, "Get out of Europe before it's too late," and go to the Americas. So
Yeah, although it's interesting because what we've found over the years is that people who are looking for a home, Portugal actually is bringing a lot of expats in. So this is a conference for US and Canadians who are thinking about, Europe, right, as their second home, vacation home, retirement, whatever it is. But what's interesting is that most of those people are not just looking at Portugal or even Europe, they're looking in the Americas as well. And so we've actually found that because when we go to a conference in Portugal, we might be the only people outside of Europe presenting. And all of a sudden, like we're the only girl in the dance hall that they're interested in talking to. So it's yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
So
how are things for you?
well, of course, I put the review up at our Passing Bucks site. I'll have a link to that if we get this video
Wonderful.
to record properly, and
Okay.
put in inserts and comments and all that stuff.
What
And
just real quick, what do we want to cover today? Time? Just give me sort of the parameters of our conversation,
we've
please.
got about 40 minutes total. I'm on the free plan here.
Okay. All right. So we want to
Yeah,
start soon. Okay.
yeah, right. And so I got it recording, and we'll even include these prefatory comments because I think they're instructive. So, like you
Great.
talked about being in Europe and everything. Yeah, I mean, you might as well plug what you're doing, and if you have anything on your schedule upcoming, like another tour or some more of these talks, let me know, and I'll
Great.
put.
Well, we do. We have a discovery tour in Nicaragua in a few weeks, in the middle of at the I guess the end of October, and then we have another Nicaragua tour in January, a Belize tour in February. So we've got some discovery tours. Oh, and one in Panama as well in January. So we've got some
Send
discovery
me some
tours.
notices. I'll look for them on the website as well. So on
Yeah.
your
Oh, I don't know that we've put them there yet, but I'll have Angie follow up
whenever,
with
yeah.
you
Or
email.
if not, at
Yep.
least send me a thing and I'll put it in this video.
You got it. Yep.
I want to as a trick. So I read your book, and it's like as I since then I watched your Nicaragua 101 video, and then I'm
Okay.
watching that guy in Leon that has is like walks down the street and talks for an hour, and then there's
Uh-huh.
the coffee plantation fellow. Yeah, Scott Allen Miller is the Leon fellow, and I forgot the name of the fellow. The guy that has a coffee plantation for his family. He talked about. I think he rode his bike from the U.S. down to Nicaragua, and he met up with some fellow who was on his way to Argentina on a bike. So just watching the
I,
guy, I'm I want to die of a heart attack. Just I'm tired. I want to go take a.
uh,
Yeah.
I don't even know who that is, actually. That's
It's a
crazy.
look for. It's a fail. I think he's a new. I don't know if he's a new YouTuber, but he showed up in my feed because you're actually in Nicaragua. We'll
Right.
show this
Videos
fellow.
and yeah.
Right,
Right,
exactly.
right,
So,
right.
I never heard of him either until recently. So, and just to show you that here in the Charles Arthur Enterprises Passing Bucks office, we too are. Well, Howard, the co-trustee, is a uh, escape artist member, right? So,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
so we hate every ape I see from chimpanzee to chimpanzee. So here we got like A to Z in Arabia, Saudi Arabia. We got
Uh-huh.
Albania. We got more books
Wow.
on each of these countries. Oh wait, here's Argentina.
Argentina.
We
Yep.
got the guy
Yep.
with the chainsaw. We love that guy. Baja, California, and Los Cabos. Belize, of course. Lonely
Yeah.
Planet. No, that's not. This is living abroad, and this is different. But we have Lonely Planet too. Dubai and stuff. We've been looking at some things in. But wait, there's more.
But wait.
it
Ah,
it dices Ecuador, uh, Georgia, Armenia, and those places. Breakaway Soviet republics.
by the By the way, when we moved to Nicaragua, the book, we bought 3 or 4 different guidebooks, right? The book that we went back to over and over and over again was called Footprints, just so you know. Like
Okay.
that was the most relevant and up to date. I mean, Footprints. So just as it was more of a travel guide, right? It wasn't about living or anything like that.
You know how much stuff gets imprinted in your brain. So I read your book, and then I'm seeing all these videos and reading all this stuff, and Gallo Pinto or something is like the like most common dish. And I said, I wonder if you mentioned his book, and there it is. It's just like it's just
Yep. Yeah,
so there's a lot of. I have to reread the damn thing again. So then there's this place called Vegas. I've never heard of. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, no.
Malaysia. We don't have one on Thailand. We should, because there's more ham operators in Thailand. I'm a ham op.
Yeah, I remember. Right.
I think I've made contacts to Belize, and I think I may have made a Nicaraguan contact. Certainly Panama.
Terrific.
And we got.
Oh yeah, Mauritius.
Mauritius. I guess if you speak French, you do good there. And then there's this Nicaragua place.
Yeah.
This is the Lonely Planet one. This has a good section on the history.
Okay.
What part of my family is named Walker, and I saw that Walker movie that they did like a million years ago with Ed Harris.
Yep.
And now this thing covers all the. So I'm not. I swear, I'm not going to bring my friends and invade Costa Rica and reinstate slavery. I'm not going to do that. I swear to God.
Okay. By the way, I have not seen that movie, and it is on my short list now. Somebody recommended it to me.
Yeah. If you're living there, you got to see it, because they want you to. They think they help produce it.
By the way, I didn't even know it existed. I never even heard of it. Until somebody told me about it a few weeks ago. So but I like Ed Harris. He's a great actor.
He's a great actor. Yeah. Oman.
Oman. Yeah. Okay.
And Uruguay. I think we got a Uruguay book around. So just in case you think we're just like not interested in this stuff, we're invested to a certain extent. I got to get my birth certificate again and renew everything. So, I've been to Ensenada, but I'm going to have to get all that stuff in place. Howard has his already. He's even got an international driver's license. So I think he'll probably be joining you sooner than I will, but I intend to go down there.
All right. Well, we'd love to have you come on one of the discovery tours. Look, the thing, you come anytime, right? Come anytime. But the discovery tours are a lot of fun, because it's like this little micro community of, 12, 15 folks. We run around, we have a good time. Everyone's adventurous, so they're not coming. I mean, it just sort of self-selects to adventurous, fun people. And I think many of them philosophically, politically align with, Freedom Fest and sort of that escape artist kind of mindset. So you end up having a great time, but you end up building community as well with people who you may or may not see again. But it's wonderful. It's fun and it's meaningful. Yeah. Anyway, I did a moment ago when I had my glasses on, I sent Angie a note to send you all of the discovery tour dates. So that is happening. Yep.
Awesome. So I was looking things up on the internet. I actually went to ChatGPT and I said, what are the countries in the Western Hemisphere that have like the most like volcanoes and earthquakes and stuff down to the safest on that front? And of course, Chile shows up top of the danger zone on that.
Right.
But then if I did it, okay, so let's talk about like water pollution and air pollution and stuff like that. So then they're like the cleanest on down, and Nicaragua is down in the Ola. So this brings me to a first question about Nicaragua. The guy in Leon, I know there's this fellow I know with a name that's similar to his, and I keep confusing his name. So I think it's Charles Allen Miller is that fellow's name. I think I got it right. He's the one in Leon. And he talks to me, he just drinks the water out of the tap. And, I drink the water out of the tap here. So I'm a weirdo, I guess, So if he can do that, I probably could do that. At worst, maybe you might spend a couple hundred or less than that on a ozone purifier for water. I don't know if you did anything when you lived there.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I always recommend, it's in the book, I recommend that if somebody's traveling on vacation to drink bottled water. right? And it's not that the bacteria is bad, although you can get bad water in the sense it could have, E. coli or, something in it, right? But generally, what gives you sort of that Montezuma's revenge isn't bad water. It's just different bacteria than their
It's
system
not
is
used
used
to
to.
it. Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when you're traveling for a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, drink bottled water. I do. I'm just like, I'm not going to get sick, But if you are moving somewhere and you're going to live there,
Yeah.
then my recommendation is fairly quickly start brushing your teeth. Maybe have a little sip of water, right? And work to the point where you can actually, just drink water out of the tap because like your body has adjusted to that bacteria. It's really important because you could live your whole life drinking bottled water, but then you go out to a restaurant and they wash the vegetables and you have a salad and it's been washed in local water, right? So I think that the acclimatization over, say, 3-4 weeks, if you're moving somewhere, is prudent, right? But if you're traveling for a week or two, drink bottled water. Don't enjoy the company of your bathroom more than you need to. Yeah.
So was it the Mayans that lived there originally? I know that the lakes, like Lake Managua and Lake Nicaragua, have
Yeah.
Indian names or native indigenous
They,
names.
they do. The Mayans really kind of stopped at the bottom of Belize. I think there's one
Uh,
site in Honduras called Copan, which I think is the furthest south of sort of the cities, right? The
yeah.
pyramid cities and stuff like that. The Mayagna Indians and the there's two main indigenous groups in Nicaragua, Mayagna and one other. And a lot of the names are from the indigenous groups that were there, pre-Columbian. So, yeah.
Okay. So I heard that Lake Managua, I'm going to use the English name or the
Yeah.
whatever the name is, Lago Managua, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Uh, that has more pollution in it. That's going to be hard for them to clean up. It's the smallest of the lakes, or smaller of the two lakes. Like Nicaragua is cleaner. They've made more efforts to keep that cleaner, I guess. Is that your understanding?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I mean, look, you've got a greater Managua of about 2 million people. And, for many years, up and until fairly recently, most of the discharge just went straight into the lake. The Nordic countries have done incredible projects, mostly money, but engineering and some technical expertise to put in very large, sophisticated waste treatment systems in Managua. So they're capturing a bigger and bigger and bigger percentage of the wastewater. They're not catching it all at this point, but they're doing a much better job. But you got lots of small areas where small villages or just people living along a creek side somewhere. All of that generally collects and runs to the lake. So Lake Managua is fairly polluted, although it's cleaned up a lot in the last 10, 15 years. I mean, a lot. Lake Nicaragua is huge. It's deeper. You've got really only two major population centers right on it, Granada and Rivas. So I think it tends to, stay healthier just because there's not a lot of, pressure on it.
Industrial activity and dumping.
Yeah,
So
right.
okay, great. So those are questions I wanted to ask. I was going through the restaurant menus, what's a typical restaurant menu, and all that, the Gallo Pinto and all that.
Gallo
But
Pinto, baby.
they had
Gallo Pinto.
good dishes and stuff. And of course, the prices are always right.
Yeah.
And the shopping is even better. So that's a good thing. Yeah, we talked about
Yep.
prices are the reason people move there, and the weather, you're not freezing to death, and it's a little cooler even. Surprisingly for the tropics, it seemed, I like the guy in Leon said he got one of his messenger people was like, I don't know if I was there and I couldn't stand the heat and everything. And it's like he's from Britain or something. He's from some place where it's cold all the time. And here I am
Yeah.
in Vegas. And you were talking about what, Virginia, and
Yeah.
where you get 110, 120 degrees. And yeah, I think the desk I'm sitting at, we have air conditioning running. I'm in the hottest part of the house. It's 28 degrees centigrade, no fan.
Okay. And you're
I
comfortable.
probably
Yeah.
your outside temperature, right? Or in Nicaragua. So I don't know.
Nicaragua, it depends on the season. We're in rainy season right now.
Yeah.
Temperatures are probably somewhere between 30 and say 35. In dry season, it goes from 35 to 40, which is a little over 100, but it's really dry. So like it's a little cooler in the rainy season, but it is hot and humid. I don't mince words, right? It's hot and humid in Nicaragua right now, from about the middle of August to the middle of November, hot, humid. Then dry season is really the middle of December till the middle end of May. And then the summer's kind of summer's nice. It's cooler, but it's sort of like Miami, right? You get some afternoon thunder showers, but generally it's just nice blue sky, puffy white clouds, with a rain shower once in a while. But middle of August till middle of November, hot, humid, and rainy. And that's what it is right now.
The Leon guy, he's doing filming, and it's always blue skies and pretty clear. But it probably rained overnight or something. Usually, is how I think how it happens.
Yeah. If you're trying to make promotional videos of the country, you're not videoing right now. No.
Right.
No.
Don't go there in April. April's kind of a witching month or something.
Yeah.
That's what he said. So I guess temperature and stuff. Well, yeah, when I get my 3-bedroom house for $300 a month, one of the rooms will have the air conditioning. Maybe I'll stay in there in the early days. It's going to get acclimated or something. Well, I'll run a big fan.
That's it. A split unit. That's what everyone does. I mean, very few people put in central air, right? You put in split, so you air condition your bedroom. Typically, that's what we did. We air conditioned our bedroom. In our living room, kitchen, dining room, sort of the open part of the house. Literally every morning we opened up all of our sliding glass doors. By the way, we didn't have screens. We opened up our sliding glass doors, and we actually had a gate to a laundry area that did not have a screen on it. So our house was literally open to the elements every day of the year, 24/7, every day of the year. And I mean, you think, oh, it's the tropics, mosquitoes. I mean, there are mosquitoes, but the bugs.
Mosquitoes here too.
The bugs are worse here in the Shenandoah Valley than they ever were in Nicaragua. So if you have fans,
the state bird of Alabama is the mosquito.
So. Yeah, no kidding, right? And so, but if you have fans and if you have good cross ventilation and you're in the shade, you can be pretty comfortable most of the time. The place we found where we wanted the air conditioning was at night in the bedroom. We wanted it dry and cool. So we air conditioned our bedroom at night, and it was very affordable, very economical. Yeah.
Yep. That's kind of my plan.
Yeah, it's a good one. I mean, it'll work. It'll work well. Yeah.
Well, we don't have Freedom Fest to talk. Well, actually, we could talk about Freedom Fest because we have.
Sure.
I didn't think I was going to get there, but it turned out I was the one who attended.
I saw you. Yeah. Thank you for getting a book. And
I got your book.
Letting me personalize it for you. Yeah.
And I was happy to see all the other exhibitors and the presentations. So that was I always enjoy going to those things. And like I told some email we exchanged, I was at the FEE convention, I think years before the Freedom Fest got started.
Yeah, 2000.
Yeah, I was looking. It was the first Freedom Fest, and it was early 2000s. My friend Samuel Edward Conkin III was still alive. He passed in 2004, so he was there. He was kind of crashing the thing and hanging out in the lobby, and I actually paid my $100 to get in to get full admission. It was different times then. It's and of course, trying to buy a meal or something in the hotel. And my clever plan of trying to avoid parking fees, I was going to go park at like the West Gate and take a monorail. None of those places had parking. They would enforce, you had to be a guest of the hotel. I think like Treasure Island was one that they said you could do that, and you couldn't. So I basically had to pay full boat at the.
What happened with Las Vegas? You used to be able to park for free.
I know. Well, I think you can in a lot of places, not during a convention. So if you're going to like a Treasure Island or something, and you're going to go shop and you're going to go in there and have a dinner or something, they're happy with you. But if you get on the monorail, then they're taking names.
Yeah. Well, Now with artificial intelligence and facial recognition, they don't have to do anything, man. They just,
Yeah.
track you and mark you. Yeah. Yeah.
Mark
Pretty
with a
scary.
beast mark. I was going to have actually beastmark.com was a domain that was available back like in the 90s. I should have,
Really?
because now I could have been the mark of the anyway. I would have had
Yeah.
everyone to kill me.
Yeah. It coulda, woulda, shoulda, right?
You know, right. So I
Yeah.
don't know if it's even available now, probably. Oh yeah, so another domain I wanted to have is Ogre. I think I told you Ogre Latam for Latin America, off-grid real estate, Ogre, OGRE.
Oh,
And that so Ogre Scouts would cover a bunch of different countries for the like if
okay.
your houses that are low EMF or off the grid, all those kind of houses, you have some of those in development, and there'd be other places around that are doing something like that. And
Yeah.
that
I'd
could work
never heard
worldwide.
of that.
No, I made it up. That's a domain.
Oh,
Don't
I'm like,
tell
wow.
anybody.
I mean,
I might get that domain. Uh,
yeah.
so I think there might be a market for that because people are into the tiny house thing, and you're doing
Yep.
some of the work. So and the food forest, the forest garden, woodland,
Yep. Yep.
wilderness garden. There's different names for it. I've been researching that for well, as a layman, just kind of looking since 2008, I guess, or so. I just stumbled
Okay.
across it because I found this thing in the Global Ideas Bank about the forest garden, and it was like a way of doing relatively high yields with low labor. So what they do, you do the 7 layers or multiple
Yeah.
layers. You have
Right.
the ground, root, shrub, tree, vines wrapping around the tree. So you're producing a bunch of food in one location.
Right.
And there was a video of a farm for the future. I think is what the name is, a BBC thing from a while back when they were worried about peak oil.
Yep.
And now it's like as oil is probably, yeah, anyway, that's maybe not such a worry, but we're producing plenty of it in the US if we can be allowed to.
Right. Yeah.
Political statement. Anyway, of course, I think when Trump got in office last time, I get some oil money from inheritance, so out of Oklahoma, and not a big, it's about equal to my Social Security, and it's
Well, but still,
it's
yeah.
something. It but it like cut in half or something because Trump made there's such a supply that they had to pay to store it. It was below,
I remember that. Yeah.
and so and now it got to a pretty pricey last year, and I don't know. They're trying to do everything they can to, and plus they got wars and everything that keep it up. So
Yep.
I'm if Trump gets in, he'll make it so cheap that people will be afford to drive. What's wrong? It's
Imagine that.
horrible. Yeah.
Imagine that. Gosh.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Yeah,
Mm.
worst of both worlds there. Anyway, I could live in Nicaragua on my Social Security. So
Very well. You could live there very, very well. And yeah, and a lot of Americans are, right? And it's not just Nicaragua, it's Costa Rica, Panama. And Belize is a little more expensive, but I mean, well, Costa Rica is more expensive, but Panama and Nicaragua really are two places where your money goes a long, long way. And you know what? Truly, El Salvador and Honduras as well. I know those are other countries that aren't very popular, but your money goes a long, long, long way. And for people who are on a very defined budget, right? It is Social Security. They don't have pensions. They don't have oil money like you know, right? I mean, if Social Security is your income, right? Finding a place where you can live on it well, I would think should be a very high priority. And it is for a lot of people. I think it's just tough because you have to think outside the box. You have to think outside, your home country. And that's hard for a lot of people. But for the people who can get their mind around, like, okay, there's this big world out there and I can go live in another country, like the reward for thinking outside the box like that is huge. It's just wonderful. Yeah.
This is kind of the Nicaragua show today.
All right. Sure. Yeah.
Well, okay, well, we could go back to like Panama, Guatemala. I know Guatemala is having some turmoil or something, I think, at the moment. Are you hearing any news about that? Or?
I'm not. We don't have any projects there, so I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So Honduras and El Salvador. Do you have anything in El Salvador?
We have a joint venture project that's proposed. We haven't launched it yet. I'm hoping that I'm headed down there I guess the first week of January. So anyway, so yeah, I'm hoping that we will be, really moving forward with that project. And it's, I like El Salvador. The president there, President Bukele, I think with incredible foresight, a couple of years ago made Bitcoin legal tender alongside the US dollar. Has done a great job of creating a safe country. Crime rates have dropped. I'm going to make up a number, 90%. I mean, the crime rates dropped unbelievable. El Salvador is really now a very safe country. The problem is that it continues to carry the perception of being dangerous, but that's old news, so to speak, right? And it'll change. I mean, people will catch up.
I think I'm more afraid of Mexico than I am of anything in Central America these days.
Yeah. And I think the country's got a very, very bright future because, when they made Bitcoin legal tender, a bunch of people poo-pooed it. No, it's just, it's a gimmick, right? But whether Bitcoin, whatever, it's like 50, 60 grand right now. I don't know what it is. Anyway, sure. But whether it goes to 250,000 or a million or drops to 10,000 or I don't think it's going away because it's not going away. But whatever range it plays in, right? The reason this was a brilliant move for El Salvador, it could be a brilliant fiscal move, right? Bitcoin goes up, and they've got great reserves in Bitcoin. That's a big win for them, right? But what it really did, Kent, was it brought people who are Bitcoin enthusiasts, who are software engineers. That's really, I mean, Bitcoin's a software. Let's just call it what it is. It's a software, right? And so you have all of these people who are super excited about a country that made this thing that they love called Bitcoin legal tender. So where are they going to set up their software operations? Where are they going to bring their foreign investment? The amount of foreign investment in the software sector or IT sector generally, but more specifically software sector in El Salvador has gone through the roof. So you've created this incredible dynamism in the country for a sector that wouldn't have come there otherwise. So I really think that Bukele was brilliant in that decision. It could have great financial impacts as well. For us, we're looking at building a community that will basically be a Bitcoin-oriented, centric community. Which again, it doesn't appeal to everybody, but it appeals to the folks that love Bitcoin and again, I'm personally bullish on Bitcoin. I like the fact that here's a money that's not owned or controlled by any government. And sometimes we think about governments being benevolent. Oh yeah, it's benevolent, and it is until it isn't, right? The Fed is reasonable and rational and responsible until they aren't, right? And so you have this monetary system that's not linked to any government or politician or bureaucrat, that can on a whim print more or do whatever they do. So I think Bitcoin's got a very bright future. It's probably got a lot more volatility than gold or other things for the short term, but long term, I think it will do very, very well.
I know in Mendoza, Argentina, there were people setting up Bitcoin mining operations there because of the cheap electricity. Where's the cheap electricity in Central America? Is there a country that nowhere?
Mexico maybe because they have oil, but no, there's no cheap electric anywhere in Central America. South America, if you get hydro,
right?
Then yes, but not in central. Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing, but Mendoza seem to have cheap electric rates, so I guess they
Um,
something.
maybe gas, hydro. I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know what they're, yeah. You know, a lot of the countries, a lot of the countries of the region, it's still expensive, and it may always be expensive, but the geothermal anywhere along that ring of fire, you started off talking about Chile having volcanoes and earthquakes. I mean, you come right on up through Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, you know, not so much Panama, but northern parts of Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Salvador, you know, right up through Mexico, right? I mean, all of these countries have this incredible potential for geothermal generation of electricity. Nicaragua has, I think, 3 plants now. A couple of them are close together, but 2 facilities that generate you know, geothermal. And again, it's not super price effective when you can compete against, you know, cheap oil, cheap gas, cheap hydro. But it is cost effective in Central America because the electric rates are, you know, high enough to make it cost effective. And by the way, that's the one place where cost of living is a little bit higher, is electrical. But again, for our example, we just lived with our doors open, right? We didn't run an air conditioner all the time, and you never need heat. So, you know, right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the guys, the guy from Leon, Charles Allen Miller, I believe it is. Anyway, did I get that right, Howard? Scott Allen Miller. Okay. See, there's a guy named Josh David Miller so I'm confusing it. I'm terrible. Okay. Anyway, the guy from Leon that's on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah.
Site Nicaragua, you know, YouTube, he'll come up. He's
Okay.
on. He's like almost on every day, it seems. He was talking about working. You know, I'm going there like on a retirement thing, and I might do some website stuff like I was explaining, but that shouldn't be any big shakes to me because I'm catering to U.S. Canada type, you know, English speakers. I'm not really going to be doing a lot of. Although, you know, I had the Google Translate app does a great job, and then there's something now you can do interactive. I could probably set up with ChatGPT and an API, a translator that would be like everything you would dream of. I would say something in English, it would then repeat it in Spanish, and then it would hear the guy in Spanish replying and tell it to me in English. You could set it up that way. And that's the impression I'm getting. If you look at some of the AI news, it looks like they're on the way to doing that real soon. Like now or maybe next month or something. It's something that's unbelievable, the progress they're making.
It really is. It's incredible. Yeah.
5 minutes here. Oh, so about the working situation. So
yeah,
a lot of and this also pertains to dating. A lot of men have left Nicaragua, I've told, because they're going to the U.S. or Spain or you know other places out to get work and send it back, or just maybe leave wherever. And so there's a lot of lonely ladies around. I don't know how true that is, and their marriage situations were kind of different than American expectations. So you could meet someone like yesterday and then say you were married and not really have been knowing each other for a year or something like that. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but so that was interesting to learn. But working, so they have to leave the country because working there is not as lucrative, of course, as going to the U.S. and piling a dozen to a 1-bedroom apartment and then working like a job. If they could stick that out for until retirement, that they could get Social Security, maybe. I don't know if that's even possible, but then would they come? Yeah, they'd come back for the low cost of living, of course.
I think so. I think a lot of people look to come to the U.S. for some period of time and then go back, right? And they're sending lots of money back home. If they are, I mean, a lot of people aren't, but I mean, the ones that are really thinking that through, they're banking a lot of money. They're going to go back to Nicaragua and have a very low cost of living and a great quality of life. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So for like an expat or someone living in Nicaragua, it wouldn't make sense to work there so much.
Well, you
There'd
can't,
be barriers. It'd be legal barriers as well. Also,
yeah, you can't really work in the sense of taking a job, right? But what
yeah,
you were talking about, website creation, authoring things, working with other authors, I mean, anything that you can do remotely, you can certainly do from there, but you wouldn't necessarily be working there, right? You're working from there, but you're not
yeah.
working there.
I'm not
And I
driving
think
a cab or something like that.
right. That's the big distinction, right? You can work from there, but not work there. And I think that's and now with what we're doing and what most people are doing, online. I mean, it
There's
can be done. Yeah.
at least for the people that have access. So we got
Yep.
about 3 minutes left. Are there
Okay.
any astounding wisdom you want to drop on us here?
Yeah. Yeah. Get my
All
book.
right. Okay, there we go. I'll put up the
Yeah.
cover again once again. I know.
Sorry.
It'll put a link
No,
to the review that I did. I have the review up on Passing Bucks.
thank you. No, but look, at the end of the day, the subtitle to the book, right? It's get it right the first time, right?
Right.
Get it right the first time. I think that's really the key, right? If we just take our time and we know how to work through the process smartly, wisely, and prudently, we can get it right the first time. And so I love it when people do that because everybody who gets it right, they tell, all their friends back home what a wonderful experience it was. If you don't get it right, you're online,
Sure.
complain and moan and telling about how horrible it was. Um, there are great resources, the ones you held up earlier too, by the way, not just my book, but there are plenty of resources out there to help folks navigate this process. And I'm a big fan of utilizing the resources that are available. So, dig in, do some research, spend some time, and take it slow. And if you do those things, you really will have a very good experience, in the process. Yeah.
Well, like in the computer world, we have input, processing, output. So we talked about food earlier and working, and now output. This is going to get a little silly. So a community that has a flood, it takes into account water for the roads,
Yeah.
drainage for water, where that's got to go somewhere, and
Yep.
sewage to like American standards, perhaps more where you could actually use toilet paper. You've
Yep.
got communities that are doing that more so than like in Managua proper, I guess, right? As far as the communities that you're developing. So, oh,
I lost you there for a second. I'm not sure what
okay. Can
happened.
you hear me? Can you hear me
Yes,
now?
now I can hear you. Yep.
Okay. I have my voice being recorded separately, so
Ah,
I'll be able to
okay.
hear what I was trying to say. Uh, anyway, no, I was talking about drainage and sewage, and you have
Yeah.
houses that are built to American standards that would, take toilet
Yeah.
paper, everything better than, yeah. So some of your community might want to talk about, even though it's a little pricier, maybe than like the native, instead of paying 30,000 for a house that's going to have all sorts of trouble in flooding and all this. That's kind of you could get like a house a little more that's more
Yeah.
what we're used to.
Well, and look, we're just there to provide alternatives. Like if somebody wants a, $50,000 house, they're there. You can get one. It's just not what we build, right? We build
Right.
something starting about 150, right? And it's $100,000 difference, but like it's all real. There's no
Yeah.
hocus pocus there. But we like to say that we build communities to a North American expectation and standard, and that's really, I think, the important thing, right? Just